What if life had a playbook, a manual that teaches you how power really works? Not the idealistic stuff we hear growing up, but the real rules that people follow, especially in high-stakes business, politics, and everyday influence. Robert Greene's 48 Laws of Power isn't just a book, it's a mirror to how the world really operates. And we're not just summarizing it, we're exploring it in 4 stages of power. Tier 1, survival. How to avoid being crushed early on. Tier 2, influence. How to get others to do what you want. Tier 3, domination. How to control outcomes boldly. Tier 4, mastery. How to become untouchable. We'll use real-life examples, simple language, and powerful insights. So stay with me till the end, because if you understand these laws, you won't just survive the game. You'll learn how to win it. Since we have already covered Rule 1 to 10 from Tier 1 in the first part, and now that you've learned how to survive, let's move to the next level. Influence. These laws are about shaping others, getting people to move, act, and think in ways that serve your interests. Law 11. Learn to keep people dependent on you. The ultimate power is having others rely on you. If you become indispensable to someone above you, or to your clients, partners, etc., you gain security. They can't easily drop you without risking their own position or success. Powerful rulers throughout history kept indispensable ministers. For example, Queen Elizabeth I had Lord Cecil as her trusted advisor for decades. As he managed the kingdom's affairs adeptly, she needed him, and thus he held great influence. In business, think of a tech guru who alone understands a critical software system. The company will bend over backwards to keep them. Make yourself the key that opens important doors. As Greene notes, the more your boss or anyone needs you, the more freedom and power you have. One strategy: create a niche for yourself that no one else fills. However, be cautious not to teach them enough so they can survive without you entirely. For instance, if you have a unique skill, share just enough to be helpful, but not so much that you're training your replacement. This law may sound calculating, but it's often just smart career management. By becoming a pillar for others' success, you build a fortress of your own influence. Law 12. Disarm with honesty and generosity. This is a classic con artist technique. A small act of kindness or a show of sincerity can open people up like nothing else. A well-placed act of kindness can melt suspicion. The heart of Law 12 is human psychology. Even a wary person craves a bit of honest friendship and kindness. So if you want information or cooperation, give a token of goodwill first. It might be as simple as a sincere compliment, a minor confession such as, "I must admit I'm new to this, and I value your expertise," or a small present. By doing so, you disarm the other's suspicion and, as the law says, distract them from your schemes. In modern workplaces, a small act of generosity, a compliment, a coffee, a credit for work, can earn trust and soften resistance. Law 13. Appeal to self-interest, not to mercy or gratitude. When you need someone's help, frame it in terms of their benefit, not what they owe you or pity for you. Human nature is such that people will do almost anything if they see an advantage for themselves. But if you beg or remind them of past favors, "Please, you owe me," or do it out of kindness, you invite reluctance or half-hearted compliance. Instead, research the person. What do they desire? Money, status, power, approval, security. Then show how you will give them what they want. For instance, If you need an influential person's support on a project, don't say, "I'd be so grateful if you endorse this." Instead say, "This project will shine a spotlight on our department. It's a chance for your leadership to really stand out and set a legacy. I could use your endorsement to make it happen. It will reflect greatly on us all." See the difference? You're now appealing to their self-interest. The law is clear. When asking for help, don't make it about you. Make it about them. Show what's in it for them. A reward, an opportunity. And you'll find doors open much more easily. Law 14. Pose as a friend. Work as a spy. Be warm but observant. Ask questions. Listen deeply. People will reveal their true thoughts and plans when they feel someone is sympathetic or harmless. So be that likable, attentive presence. Ask gentle questions, show interest, and listen more than you speak, ties back to Law 4. For example, during the Cold War, diplomats would attend parties and casually collect secrets over cocktails. You don't need to deceive, but you do need to notice what others miss. People reveal more when they feel safe. Use that information wisely. The essence of Law 14 is to be friendly and jovial, win people's trust, then use the insight you gain. It's not about betraying genuine friends. It's about strategic friendliness in arenas where knowledge is power. Remember, forewarned is forearmed. Law 15. Crush your enemy. Totally. When conflict is unavoidable, go all the way because a total victory brings peace. However, a partial victory brings an eternal war. Consider Julius Caesar. After winning a civil war, he pardoned many of his enemies in a show of mercy. Noble, but some of those same men, like Brutus and Cassius, later conspired and assassinated him. Had he crushed them or executed the ringleaders, he might have lived to rule longer. On the other hand, the Romans after the Third Punic War learned this lesson. They had fought Carthage in 3 brutal wars. In the first 2, Carthage was defeated but left standing, only to rebuild and fight again. In the Third War, Rome decided to end Carthage for good. In 146 BC, they seized Carthage, destroyed the city utterly, and sold the survivors into slavery, erasing Carthage from the map. Carthage never threatened Rome again. The message is stark. If you choose to confront, strike so hard that there is nothing left. In less bloody terms, if you're dealing with a competitor or someone who has tried to harm you, neutralize their ability to retaliate completely. This could mean dismantling their support base, ruining their credibility, or even removing them from power. Law 16. Use absence to increase respect and honor. We all know the saying, familiarity breeds contempt. If you are always in people's faces, always available, you risk becoming taken for granted. Law 16 says withdraw once in a while, especially after you've made a strong impression, so that people will miss you and value you more. Familiarity breeds indifference. When you're always available, you lose value. But when you step back, suddenly people notice. For instance, if you contribute heavily to a project at work and gain praise, do not then volunteer for every little task afterwards. Pull back a bit, let your contribution stand, and be remembered before you do the next thing. If you're always eager and in front, the praise can quickly turn to expectancy. Oh, he'll always do it. But if you appear selectively, your presence feels more significant each time. Key point: make yourself a limited edition. Once you're well known or have proven yourself, step away briefly. People will talk about you in your absence, hopefully admiringly, and your name gains a legend. Then, when you reappear, It's an event, not a routine. But be careful. Don't vanish so long or at the wrong time that you're forgotten, or things fall apart without you. Timing is everything. Law 17. Keep others in suspended terror. Predictability can be a weakness. If people know what you'll do, they can prepare or take you for granted. But if you are unpredictable, you put others on the defensive. Think of a boss or teacher whose reactions you can't quite predict. One day they laugh off a mistake. Another day, they explode at something minor. The whole staff or class walks on eggshells, always attentive, because any misstep might trigger a reaction. The goal isn't to be cruel. It's to not be a bland open book. By occasionally surprising people, a random act of kindness here, a sudden firm stance there, you keep everyone off balance. They'll approach you with caution and deference because they're not sure what mood or decision they'll encounter. As Greene puts it, unnerve them with random, unpredictable acts. This strategy helped leaders like Richard Nixon, who adopted a madman theory in diplomacy, trying to convince opponents that he was volatile and might do something extreme, hoping they'd back down. Used wisely, unpredictability is a powerful psychological weapon. It prevents anyone from taking you lightly or plotting too comfortably against you. Law 18. Don't build fortresses to protect yourself. Isolation is dangerous. Cutting yourself off may feel safe, but it weakens you. You lose touch with trends, people, and threats. In Game of Thrones, Cersei hides in her Red Keep, while Varys moves through whispers and back channels. You know who wins influence? The one with ears everywhere. Stay socially connected. Walls protect the body, but kill the influence. Staying away from everyone might feel safe, but it actually makes you more vulnerable. When you're cut off from people, you miss out on important information and support. Imagine a CEO who stops talking to employees and only listens to those who always agree with her. She won't hear about problems until they become serious, and by then, it might be too late. That's the danger of isolation. This law says don't hide away. Stay connected. Talk to people. Listen to what's going on. Even if you need privacy or protection, make sure you're not mentally or socially cut off. As the old saying goes, keep your ear to the ground. The more present you are, the more control you keep. Because when you're isolated, you're blind and alone. And that's when the real danger begins. Law 19. Know who you're dealing with. Don't offend the wrong person. Power isn't one size fits all. This law is about choosing your battles wisely. Some people are like hornets' nests. Poke them a little, and you unleash a swarm of trouble. The key is knowing who you're dealing with, and who not to mess with. History is full of tragic lessons where people misjudged the wrong person and paid the price. In ancient China, a minor official insulted Shi Shi, one of the king's favorites. He had no idea how powerful she was. The very next day, he was accused of treason. He didn't break the law. He simply offended the wrong person. Another example. John Lennon from the Beatles once laughed at someone in the crowd without knowing the man was mentally unstable. That man held a grudge, and years later, tragically became Lennon's killer. In fact, Pablo Escobar once bombed an entire plane just to kill one rival. Some people overreact, so tread wisely. Not everyone forgives and forgets. Some hold grudges, some explode, and some have silent power, a strong boss, a legal connection, or influence behind the scenes. So before you argue, ask yourself, is this person calm or dangerous? Can they take a joke, or will they take it personally? Challenging the wrong person might feel bold, but it can cost you dearly. Robert Greene says, "Don't provoke people who react in extreme ways. It's not worth it. Either calm them or avoid them. But don't assume everyone plays fair." Law 20. Do not commit to anyone. Show commitment to your own values or goals, but not as a blind follower to another's banner. Think of yourself like a free agent. The moment you choose sides, you create enemies and become predictable. Powerful people often stay mysterious. For example, Queen Elizabeth I never married despite pressure, which meant she never tied England to a single alliance through a husband, and she kept Europeans hopeful and friendly for decades. In today's world, this means avoiding office politics. If two teams are fighting, don't join the war. Stay neutral, be helpful to both. When one side wins, you're still respected by both. But there's a balance. Don't look fake or disloyal. Show interest, stay involved, but don't let anyone own your loyalty. Even George Washington advised the U.S. to avoid permanent alliances in order to stay free and flexible. So keep your options open. Let others come to you. That's how you stay in control. Just remember, don't follow blindly. Be loyal to your values, not someone else's plan. Law 21. Seem dumber than your mark and make others feel smarter. In simple terms, let others think they're smarter than you. It sounds odd, but it's powerful. When people feel smarter, they stop seeing you as a threat. They talk more, reveal more, and relax. Take General Nathaniel Greene, a key mind behind America's fight for freedom. He dressed like a simple farmer and spoke plainly. Many officers didn't take him seriously, but behind that act, he was actually one of George Washington's most brilliant war strategists. People love feeling like the smartest person in the room. Let them have that feeling, and they won't see you as competition or a threat. Meanwhile, you can observe and learn. For example, in a business negotiation, you might downplay your knowledge by saying, "I'm not an expert in these technical details. You probably know much more." This might encourage the other side to spill more information. Or, in office politics, while others fight to look smartest, the quiet listener gathers everything and strikes at the right moment. This isn't about being fake or weak. It's about strategic humility. Downplay your strengths where their ego is strongest. Let them feel brilliant. Let them lead the conversation. And while they talk, you learn everything. But be careful. Don't act so clueless that people stop trusting you. Use this only where it gives you leverage, not where you need to perform. In short, let others underestimate you. Because when they don't see you coming, you have the upper hand before the game even starts. Law 22. Use the surrender tactic. Transform weakness into power law. When you're weak and facing a stronger opponent, sometimes the smartest move is to step back. Instead of fighting head-on, surrender, but do it strategically. Because surrender isn't defeat. It's a delay. It's a distraction. It's a way to buy time. When you yield, your opponent may drop their guard. They may feel overconfident, even careless. And that's when you prepare your comeback. A great example comes from ancient China. General Han Xin was surrounded by a massive enemy force, but instead of going down fighting, he faked a surrender. The enemy relaxed. Then, when they least expected it, he attacked and won the battle. Centuries later, Napoleon Bonaparte used a similar move. After being exiled to Elba, he acted like he had accepted defeat. France thought the danger had passed. But months later, Napoleon returned, raised an army, and shocked the world. because they believed his surrender was real. Now think about your everyday life. In a heated work argument, especially with your boss, fighting back might make things worse. Instead, try this. "You're right. I appreciate the feedback. I'll correct it." This soft response can calm the situation. Later, when things cool down, you can present your side more wisely. Surrender, when used well, confuses your opponent. It removes their fuel. If you're not resisting, there's nothing for them to push against. And in that space, you rebuild. But here's the key. Surrender should never be permanent. It's not giving up, it's stepping aside, so you can return stronger. So when you're clearly outmatched, don't rush into a fight. Pause. Surrender with purpose. And when the time is right, turn that weakness into power. Law 23. Concentrate your forces. Don't try to do everything. Focus your energy, time, and talent on what matters most. When you spread yourself too thin, you lose impact. But when you focus all your strength in one direction, you gain power. Great leaders know this well. Napoleon often won battles by concentrating his troops at one key point in the enemy's line, not by fighting everywhere. That sharp focus helped him break through and win. In business, one of the best examples is Steve Jobs. When he returned to Apple in 1997, the company was struggling. They were making too many products, trying to please everyone, and failing. Jobs made a bold move. He cut the product line down to just 4. He told his team to focus on perfecting just a few things, not everything. It was painful. Thousands of people were laid off. But that focus led to the iMac, then the iPod, and finally, the iPhone. Apple went from near collapse to becoming the world's most valuable company. Jobs had one clear message. Focus means saying no to 100 good ideas, so you can say yes to one great one. The same principle applies in our personal lives. Instead of trying to be average at 5 things, be exceptional at 1. Instead of chasing 10 small projects, pour yourself into the one that truly matters. Concentration builds momentum. Like sunlight through a magnifying glass, it only creates fire when it's focused. So ask yourself, where is your greatest strength? What goal will give you the biggest impact? Direct your full effort there. Don't divide your forces into small, scattered battles. Choose the battles that matter. One strong success will always be more powerful than many weak attempts. Law 24. Play the perfect courtier. This law is about mastering the art of diplomacy. In any workplace or power structure, there's an unspoken code, a way of behaving that opens doors without making noise. To play the perfect courtier means to understand those rules and move through them with grace. It's not about being fake. It's about being smart, subtle, and socially skilled. A perfect courtier is polite, humble, and careful with words. They never embarrass their boss, never brag too loudly, and never make themselves look like a threat. They give credit to others. They make those above them feel respected. Lord Chesterfield, an 18th century British statesman, once wrote, "Be wiser than others if you can, but do not tell them so." That's the essence of this law. Appear modest, even when you know more. Be supportive, even when you're leading behind the scenes. Make your suggestions sound like their idea. Help teammates shine. Show up when it matters. Dress well. Remember small things, like birthdays or milestones. These little acts build your reputation. They make you the person everyone enjoys working with. And while others fight for attention, you quietly build trust, loyalty, and influence. Because here's the truth. In most power structures, it's not the loudest person who wins. It's the one who knows how to speak softly and still be heard. So master the courtier's game. Because when you're respected, liked, and trusted, you don't need a title to have real power. So, these 14 laws in Tier 2 teach us how to shape the people around us, subtly, intelligently, and effectively. Influence is less about loud commands and more about strategic whispers. Master this tier, and you'll no longer just survive. You'll guide the flow of events. In the next part, we enter the boldest realm, domination, where influence turns into control. Make sure to comment your favorite law from this tier, and follow for the next stage of power. Because now, the real moves begin. The 48 Laws of Power is a roadmap to navigating life's power games, but it's not without controversy. Some call it ruthless, others a mirror of reality. Use these laws wisely. Power can build or destroy. What's your take? Which law hit you the most? Drop it in the comments, hit like, share with your people, and subscribe with the bell.